Salif Keita in 1970 was the first player to win the CAF Best Player of the Year. And then the award was being organized by French football magazine. Those, the guys that are organizing the Ballon d'Or now. Yeah. So they started in 1970 in Africa.
Wow.
And then Salif Keita was playing for Saint Etienne. Now, in 1972, a player based in Africa from Cote d'Ivoire, playing for ASEC Mimosa, Laurent Oku. For if you follow African football, you know this name very well. He was the top striker for the Ivorians in their national team. He was the first player based in Africa that won the African Footballer of the Year, playing for ASEC Mimosa. And from 1971 to 1986, we've seen African-based players, the likes of Roger Miller of Cameroon, when he was playing in Yaoundé, in a Cameroonian league. He also won the African Footballer of the Year based in Africa. Now, fast forward to when CAF took over from 1992. We've seen just two players, not winning the award now, but they finished in the top 3 categories. One of them is most recently, because from 2008 till date, no player based in Africa has finished in the top 3 of the CAF awards. The last person to do that was Aboutrika of Egypt, and he did that while playing for Al Ahly. So what has happened since CAF took over from the French football magazine to host the African Footballer of the Year? Is it the fault from CAF? Is it the fault from the players? Is it the fault from the continent of Africa? Or is it the fault from who? So I and the guys will be doing justice to this. Well, I will start with Obinna. What has happened since CAF took over?
I don't know what is going on in African football. And what's the most painful thing about this thing is they keep encouraging us to promote African football. But when you look at it from their own side, they are not even doing their part. Yes, I know that most people will come out to say that the standard of football is not the same thing in Europe and in Africa. But still, you have to give these boys reason to come back home to play. So when you see that when you play in Ashanti Kotoko, or when you play in Mamelodi Sundowns or Pirates or Al Ahly, or even in Eyimba in Nigeria, that no matter whatever you play, 50% of your performance in Liverpool we are shy my 100% in Africa. What will make me come down to Africa and promote our football? Nothing. So you just read out the histories that are in the 70s and 80s. Africans based in Africa playing African football gets to win the African best players. So when CAF, that is our own CAF, took over, did not give it to the players based in Europe. Like, it doesn't make sense. What are you guys trying to teach us? That we should go and watch European football, then leave our African football? That's what it means. Because you don't expect Lookman, who is the current African best player, to leave Atlanta and come back to Eyimba and play Eyimba. When if he plays in Atlanta, if Lookman doesn't perform in Nigeria at all, and plays his football in Atlanta, he will still win the African best player without playing anything for Nigeria at all. But you see a player like Shaolili in Sundowns, winning let's say for instance he wins the CAF and wins the league too. That is a very brilliant performance. But you still see Lookman or Oshime playing just with maybe finishing with the highest goal scorer, winning the African best player. I don't understand. What are you telling these boys in Africa? You're not encouraging them, and it's not fair. And the bad thing is that it is coming from CAF, not even the French magazine again.
Well, in Jinakesi, Mayele, plays for Pyramids of Egypt, and he has been scoring goals both in the Egyptian League and in the CAF Champions League.
He scored yesterday too.
If he wins the CAF Champions League, will that be enough for him to be named the African Footballer of the Year for CAF?
Okay.
Or should someone that, say for Victor Osimhen now scoring goals for Galatasaray, he made as the highest goal scorer, wins the league?
Yeah.
Obaino made a valid point. But I want to let you understand that this is not even just peculiar to CAF. If you check the Asian AFC Footballer of the Year, you understand, if I'm correct, the guy that won it in 1994, Shawid Owairan, plays for Al Shabab. In 95, the person that won it plays for Yokohama Marinos. And in 96, the other person that won it plays for Shonan Balare. But now, what has happened? I'm coming back to CAF now. Before I come back to CAF, now you ask me a question now. Why should Fise Mayele win it? You understand?
Or shouldn't even win it?
Why shouldn't he win it?
Ahead
of if Mayele wins the CAF Champions League, is it not enough for him to be given the CAF Player of the Year?
Yes, I was coming
against Victor Osimhen in the Turkish league that emerged at the highest goal scorer.
I was coming to that. I've mentioned some of the Asian players who played in Asia that won it before then. But now, since 2012, Jinson Park won it. Jinson Park, Nagatomo also won it, and for the last 3 or 4 years now, it's Son of Tottenham has been winning it. So now you ask yourself then, from what Obina said, in the 80s, how many Africans were playing in Europe? You understand? So most of their football was in Africa. And then when they started going to Europe, and then we started seeing players do well in Europe, they started giving them those awards. Now, why the real cause of this thing is, ask yourself, how many of these African players are we watching in Africa? Are you getting me? I'll put it to you that
Is it enough not to win the African Football of the Year?
No. Many people don't know Fitso Mayele. Do you understand? Many African captains. Let's say
people that do
when
voting.
it comes to voting
Okay.
now, let's say it is African captains and maybe coaches that vote
do their votes.
I'll put it to you that most of them don't even know Fitso Mayele.
Before, sorry,
But they will easily.
let me come in here. Before
CAF came in.
Before CAF, we streamlined it to the last 3 nominees. There are criteria that CAF put in place to, you will see the top 10, you even see the top 5 before 3 players are chosen. Now, why don't Fitso Mayele, because of emerging as the top scorer, be in the last 3 categories, so that club captain will now know that, okay, like 3 of us are in the studio. If I am Fitso Mayele now, for
you are qualified.
I'm qualified as so are you as a captain of the, you know that, oh, this guy won the CAF Champions League, this guy was the highest
It should be enough reason.
in that
Now,
competition, then they vote for him.
That's one step CAF will take. But then when you put Fitso Mayele, some people will now come and see him in that mix and now start googling him. Let me Google what this guy did last season before I cast my vote. That person is supposed to have watched Fitso Mayele. That is where I'm coming from. I don't know if you understand me. Now, that person must have watched Osimhen. Go to YouTube. Even if you didn't watch some of their matches, go to YouTube, put the highlights, you watch them. Even if you miss the match,
Easy to access.
it's very, very easy to access. The football is there. If you want, you can watch any part of any league in any part of Europe once you come online. But now, why Africa? Why is it limited to very few stations and online? You understand? You don't get to see these players, even the numbers they create. You don't get to watch some of these matches. Now, no matter how that player performs in Africa, because of his because this has to do with popularity. You have to be popular first. You understand? And popularity comes with television. You have to be televised, you have to be seen online, then people will now say, oh, this guy is good.
So you're saying that the media work is not enough?
It is not there. That's why
I have a question for you.
Not showing them enough.
Yeah, not showing them enough. Like Dika said when he gave us the rundown, it was handled before by the French magazine. So French magazine had the time to watch our boys in Africa. Now it's down to CAF. CAF cannot watch our boys. Like you understand? Much. Yes. No, that's what I'm saying. It was handled by an European country, an European magazine. They still saw reasons to watch our boys. You can't tell me that there were no African players playing in Europe at the time. Maybe there were a few, but there were African players playing that time. But still, they had the opportunity or the time to focus on African players now. So CAF should even do it more than the African magazine. So I think it's CAF. CAF should be blamed.
Yes, I am like Dika. Let me just Dika said what he said, that the French football was awarding it to Africans.
Yeah.
Now I told you that like those times or in the past, those African players were playing in if there were African players in Europe, it was very little.
Very little.
I remember it was a time that I think racism was at the highest. You understand?
Yeah.
So it was not easy for Africans to get to play for some European clubs there. So the best of African players were based in Africa.
Yeah.
They were based in Africa. That was when Africa, in fact, when Africa embraced football, people used to come to Africa and watch football.
Yeah.
Now, we may not have had the technology that time to cover them. So they had, and they were covering them.
I think it's not fair.
Now CAF taking over. What CAF failed to do was to promote African football to the reach of Africans. You understand what I mean now? Like the way Europe did to their different leagues, the UEFA Champions League, English Premier League, they marketed their football to the world. CAF didn't do enough of that. You understand? So we don't even get to watch some of our best clubs in Africa. We only come and assemble and watch the Nations Cup. And sometimes when you come to Nations Cup, you now discover a player. But that player may have been playing in some clubs in Africa doing well, but we don't know. That's why their country choose the player. You understand? So I believe it has to do with television marketing or whatever you have to call it.
Yeah, promotion and everything.
Yes, that is what hindered some of this Africa. That is what is even limiting it. You are hearing about Fiso Mayele in the CAF Champions League only this season.
Yeah.
But that guy may have been playing very well in some other clubs before he joined. But a 17-year-old Yama, you already know him.
Yeah.
So that is what is making these players.
And I think this will make these players, like for instance, now when you see players playing in Mamelodi Sundowns or Eyimba or Al Ahly, in their mindset they already know that I cannot be the African best player. And this is not good. You understand? Like they already have in their mindset that no matter whatever I play, this is my level. This is my limit.
So it's
not an encouragement.
Gentlemen, let me also tell you that CAF have the Interclub Player of the Year. Where they choose the best of the players from club based in Africa. They have that.
We know that.
So for players playing in Africa, you can also win the CAF Interclub Player of the Year. Like we're talking about Mayele now. If you do so well and he's outstanding, he can win the CAF Interclub Player of the Year.
That's not enough. That's not enough. Can you compare him with Ademola Lookman?
No, we are coming to that. You know, when you play the UEFA Champions League, there is a player of the tournament. There's a player that's given.
That's different. That's different.
The MVP, yes. And then when the Europe is done, they also give Europe
best player.
Europe Player of the Year itself most times is not even an European. It could be a South American.
Yeah, based in Europe.
Anywhere, but as long as you are playing for a football club based in Europe, you can win it.
Yeah.
Now that is what Dika is trying to explain, that they have this award. But that player that is based in Europe can also maybe win the Champions League best player and also win the European best player. You understand? But in Africa, when you win the Interclub Player of the Year, is almost like you are settled. That one is gone.
Don't expect to win the African best player.
Don't expect to win
but
the best
that's
player.
not good now.
I keep saying it because these players that you are mentioning, these people I are talking about, if it comes to voting, whenever it comes to voting,
they are not known.
They are not known. You understand? So what should we do as Africans? Market our leagues. In fact, before you even start to market the league, Shebi, you go first get good stadium. You first have to have a good stadium. You have to have the facilities. You can be able to play football at any time of the day. And then you sell out your. Africa has a lot of talent, but the problem that Africa has is how to market their league, how to even get their league up to standard. So you don't blame them for giving it to those. I blame them anyway, but I don't blame those that want to vote for giving it to those that they watch.
So guys, you've heard from them. You know, for CAF, this is what we are suggesting to you. Can you create a category where we will give to African players playing in Europe or anywhere in the world their own separate award, and then we'll have one for Africans in our continent? Then we'll market our players. We'll do more of publicity. I know you guys have been trying, but we should publicize more of our African players. How many people know Fiso Mayele? How many people know Peter Shalulile of Mamelodi Sundowns? You know, we need to know these guys. We need to know their performance. We need to know their statistics. We need to know where they are coming from. We need more publicity to publicize African football and then sell our players out there to the world. Well, you know that you can also contribute by commenting, sharing and liking our videos, and of course following us on all social media platforms